All too many of our men of Babylon do raise their families in unseemly quarters. They do pay to exacting landlords liberal rentals for rooms where their wives have not a spot to raise the blooms that gladden a woman's heart, and their children have no place to play their games except in the unclean alleys. No man's family can fully enjoy life unless they do have a plot of ground wherein children can play in the clean earth, and where the wife may raise not only blossoms, but good rich herbs to feed her family. To a man's heart it brings gladness to eat the figs from his own trees and the grapes of his own vines, to own his own domicile and to have it a place he is proud to care for, putteth confidence in his heart behind all his endeavors. Therefore do I recommend that every man own the roof that sheltereth him and his. Nor is it beyond the ability of any well-intentioned man to own his home. The great king so widely extended the walls of Babylon that within them is now unused and may be purchased at sums most reasonable. I say to you, my students, that the moneylenders gladly consider the desires of men who seek homes and land for their families. Borrow to pay the brickmaker and the builder for such commendable purposes, if thou can show a reasonable portion of the necessary sum which thou thyself have provided for the purpose. Then when the house be built, thou canst pay the moneylender with the same regularity as thou didst pay the landlord, because each payment will reduce thy indebtedness to the moneylender, will satisfy his loan. Then will thy heart be glad, because thou wilt own in thy own right a valuable property, and thy only cost will be the king's taxes. Also wilt thy good wife go more often to the river to wash thy robes, that each time returning she may bring a goatskin of water to pour upon the growing things. Any blessings to the man who owneth his own house, and greatly will it reduce his cost of living, making available more of his earnings for pleasures and the gratification of his desires. This, then, is the fifth cure for a lean purse. Own thy own home. The sixth cure. Ensure a future income. The life of every man proceedeth from his childhood to his old age. This is the path of life, and no man may deviate from it, unless the gods call him prematurely to the world beyond. Say that it behooves a man to make preparation for a suitable income in the days to come, when he is no longer young, and to make preparations for his family, should he be no longer with them to comfort and support them. This lesson shall instruct thee in providing a full purse when time has made thee less able to earn. So Arcad addressed his class upon the sixth day. A man who, because of his understanding of the laws of wealth, acquireth a growing surplus, should give thought to those future days. He should plan certain investments or provisions that may endure safely for many years, yet will be available when the time arrives, which he has so wisely anticipated. There are diverse ways by which a man may provide with safety for his future. He may provide a hiding place and there bury a secret treasure. Yet no matter with what skill it be hidden, it may nevertheless become the loot of thieves. For this reason, I recommend not this plan. A man may buy houses or lands for this purpose. If wisely chosen as to their usefulness and value in the future, they are permanent in their value and their earnings, or their sale will provide well for his purpose. A man may loan a small sum to the moneylender and increase it at regular periods. The rental which the moneylender adds to this will largely add to its increase. I do know a sandal maker named Ansan, who explained to me not long ago that each week for 8 years he had deposited with his moneylender 2 pieces of silver. The moneylender had but recently given him an accounting over which he greatly rejoiced. The total of his small deposits with their rental at the customary rate of 1/4 their value for each 4 years had now become 1,040 pieces of silver. I did gladly encourage him further by demonstrating to him with my knowledge of the numbers that in 12 years more, if he would keep his regular deposits of but 2 pieces of silver each week, the moneylender would then owe him 4,000 pieces of silver, a worthy competence for the rest of his life. Surely when such a small payment made with regularity doth produce such profitable results, no man can afford not to insure a treasure for his old age and the protection of his family, no matter how prosperous his business and his investments may be. I would that I might say more about this. In my mind rests a belief that someday wise-thinking men will devise a plan to insure against death, whereby many men pay in but a trifling sum regularly, the aggregate making a handsome sum for the family of each member who passeth to the beyond. This do I see as something desirable and which I could highly recommend. But today it is not possible because it must reach beyond the life of any man or any partnership to operate. It must be as stable as the king's throne. Someday do I feel that such a plan shall come to pass and be a great blessing to many men, because even the first small payment will make available a snug fortune for the family of a member, should he pass on. But because we live in our own day and not in the days which are to come, must we take advantage of those means and ways of accomplishing our purposes. Therefore do I recommend to all men that they, by wise and well thought out methods, do provide against a lean purse in their mature years. For a lean purse to a man no longer able to earn, or to a family without its head, is a sore tragedy. This, then, is the 6th cure for a lean purse. Provide in advance for the needs of thy growing age and the protection of thy family. The 7th cure. Increase thy ability to earn. This day do I speak to thee, my students, of one of the most vital remedies for a lean purse. Yet I will not talk of gold, but of yourselves, of the men beneath the robes of many colors who do sit before me. I will talk to you of those things within the minds and lives of men which do work for or against their success. So did Arcad address his class upon the 7th day. Not long ago came to me a young man seeking to borrow. When I questioned him the cause of his necessity, he complained that his earnings were insufficient to pay his expenses. Thereupon I explained to him, this being the case, he was a poor customer for the moneylender, as he possessed no surplus earning capacity to repay the loan. What you need, young man, I told him, is to earn more coins. What dost thou to increase thy capacity to earn? All that I can do, he replied. 6 times within 2 moons have I approached my master to request my pay be increased, but without success. No man can go oftener than that. We may smile at his simplicity, yet he did possess one of the vital requirements to increase his earnings. Within him was a strong desire to earn more, a proper and commendable desire. Accomplishment must be desire. Thy desires must be strong and definite. General desires are but weak longings. For a man to wish to be rich is of little purpose. For a man to desire 5 pieces of gold is a tangible desire which he can press to fulfillment. After he has backed his desire for 5 pieces of gold with strength of purpose to secure it, next he can find similar ways to obtain 10 pieces, and then 20 pieces, and later 1,000 pieces, and behold, he has become wealthy. In learning to secure his one definite small desire, he hath trained himself to secure a larger one. This is the process by which wealth is accumulated, first in small sums, then in larger ones as a man learns and becomes more capable. Desires must be simple and definite. They defeat their own purpose should they be too many, too confusing, or beyond a man's training to accomplish. As a man perfecteth himself in his calling, even so doth his ability to earn increase. In those days when I was a humble scribe, carving upon the clay for a few coppers each day, I observed that other workers did more than I, and were paid more. Therefore did I determine that I would be exceeded by none. Nor did it take long for me to discover the reason for their greater success. More interest in my work, more concentration upon my task, more persistence in my effort, and behold, few men could carve more tablets in a day than I. With reasonable promptness, my increased skill was rewarded, nor was it necessary for me to go 6 times to my master to request recognition. Wisdom we know, the more we may earn. That man who seeks to learn more of his craft shall be richly rewarded. If he is an artisan, he may seek to learn the methods and the tools of those most skillful in the same line. If he laboreth at the law or at healing, he may consult and exchange knowledge with others of his calling. If he be a merchant, he may continually seek better goods that can be purchased at lower prices. Always do the affairs of men change and improve, because keen-minded men seek greater skill that they may better serve those upon whose patronage they depend. Therefore, I urge all men to be in the front rank of progress and not to stand still, lest they be left behind. Many things come to make a man's life rich with gainful experiences. Such things as the following a man must do if he respects himself. He must pay his debts with all the promptness within his power, not purchasing that for which he is unable to pay. He must take care of his family that they may think and speak well of him. He must make a will of record that in case the gods call him, proper and honorable division of his property be accomplished. He must have compassion upon those who are injured and smitten by misfortune and aid them within reasonable limits. He must do deeds of thoughtfulness to those dear to him. Thus, the 7th and last remedy for a lean purse is to cultivate thy own powers, to study and become wiser, to become more skillful, to so act as to respect thyself. Thereby shalt thou acquire confidence in thyself to achieve thy carefully considered desires. These, then, are the 7 cures for a lean purse, which, out of the experience of a long and successful life, I do urge for all men who desire wealth. There is more gold in Babylon, my students, than thou dreamest of. There is abundance for all. Go thou forth and practice these truths, that thou mayest prosper and grow wealthy, as is thy right. Go thou forth and teach these truths, that every honorable subject of his majesty may also share liberally in the ample wealth of our beloved city. Chapter 4. Meet the Goddess of Good Luck. Babylonian proverb. If a man be lucky, there is no foretelling the possible extent of his good fortune. Pitch him into the Euphrates, and like as not, he will swim out with a pearl in his hand. The desire to be lucky is universal. It was just as strong in the breasts of men 4,000 years ago in ancient Babylon as it is in the hearts of men today. We all hope to be favored by the whimsical goddess of good luck. Is there some way we can meet her and attract not only her favorable attention, but her generous favors? Is there a way to attract good luck? That is just what the men of ancient Babylon wished to know. It is exactly what they decided to find out. They were shrewd men and keen thinkers. That explains why their city became the richest and most powerful city of their time. In that distant past, they had no schools or colleges. Nevertheless, they had a center of learning, and a very practical one it was. Among the towered buildings in Babylon was one that ranked in importance with the palace of the king, the hanging gardens, and the temples of the gods. You will find scant mention of it in the history books, more likely no mention at all, yet it exerted a powerful influence upon the thought of that time. This building was the temple of learning, where the wisdom of the past was expounded by voluntary teachers and where subjects of popular interest were discussed in open forums. Within its walls, all men met as equals. The humblest of slaves could dispute with impunity the opinions of a prince of the royal house. Among the many who frequented the Temple of Learning was a wise rich man named Arcad, called the richest man in Babylon. He had his own special hall where almost any evening a large group of men, some old, some very young, but mostly middle-aged, gathered to discuss and argue interesting subjects. Suppose we listen in to see whether they knew how to attract good luck. The sun had just set like a great red ball of fire shining through the haze of desert dust when Arcad strolled to his accustomed platform. Already full 80 men were awaiting his arrival, reclining on their small rugs spread upon the floor. More were still arriving. "What shall we discuss this night?" Arcad inquired. After a brief hesitation, a tall cloth weaver addressed him, arising as was the custom. "I have a subject I would like to hear discussed, yet hesitate to offer, lest it seem ridiculous to you, Arcad, and my good friends here." Upon being urged to offer it, both by Arcad and by calls from the others, he continued, "This day I have been lucky, for I have found a purse in which there are pieces of gold. To continue to be lucky is my great desire. Feeling that all men share with me this desire, I do suggest we debate how to attract good luck, that we may discover ways it can be enticed to one." "A most interesting subject has been offered," Arcad commented. "One most worthy of our discussion. To some men, good luck bespeaks but a chance happening that, like an accident, may befall one without purpose or reason. Others do believe that the instigator of all good fortune is our most bounteous goddess Ashtar, ever anxious to reward with generous gifts those who please her. Speak up, my friends, what say you? Shall we seek to find if there be means by which good luck may be enticed to visit each and all of us?" "Yea, yea, and much of it," responded the growing group of eager listeners. Thereupon Arcad continued, "To start our discussion, let us first hear from those among us who have enjoyed experiences similar to that of the cloth weaver in finding or receiving, without effort upon their part, valuable treasures or jewels." There was a pause in which all looked about, expecting someone to reply, but no one did. What? No one? Arcad asked. Then rare indeed must be this kind of good luck. Who now will offer a suggestion as to where we shall continue our search? That I will do, spoke a well-robed young man, arising. When a man speaketh of luck, is it not natural that his thoughts turn to the gaming tables? Is it not there we find many men courting the favor of the goddess in hope she will bless them with rich winnings? As he resumed his seat, a voice called, Do not stop. Continue thy story. Tell us, didst thou find favor with the goddess at the gaming tables? Did she turn the cubes with red side up so thou filled thy purse at the dealer's expense? Or did she permit the blue sides to come up so the dealer raked in thy hard-earned pieces of silver? The young man joined the good-natured laughter, then replied, I am not averse to admitting she seemed not to know I was even there. But how about the rest of you? Have you found her waiting about such places to roll the cubes in your favor? We are eager to hear as well as to learn. A wise start, broke in Arcad. We meet here to consider all sides of each question. To ignore the gaming table would be to overlook an instinct common to most men. The love of taking a chance with a small amount of silver in the hope of winning much gold. That doth remind me of the races but yesterday, called out another listener. If the goddess frequents the gaming tables, certainly she does not overlook the races where the gilded chariots and the foaming horses offer far more excitement. Tell us honestly, Arcad, didst she whisper to you to place your bet upon those gray horses from Nineveh yesterday? I was standing just behind thee and could scarce believe my ears when I heard thee place thy bet upon the grays. Thou knowest as well as any of us that no team in all Assyria can beat our beloved bays in a fair race. Didst the goddess whisper in thy ear to bet upon the grays because at the last turn the inside black would stumble and so interfere with our bays that the grays would win the race and score an unearned victory? Arcad smiled indulgently at the banter. What reason have we to feel the good goddess would take that much interest in any man's bet upon a horse race? To me, she is a goddess of love and dignity whose pleasure it is to aid those who are in need and to reward those who are deserving. I look to find her, not at the gaming tables or the races where men lose more gold than they win, but in other places where the doings of men are more worthwhile and more worthy of reward. In tilling the soil, in honest trading, in all of man's occupations, there is opportunity to make a profit upon his efforts and his transactions. Perhaps not all the time will he be rewarded, because sometimes his judgment may be faulty, and other times the winds and the weather may defeat his efforts. Yet, he may usually expect to realize his profit. This is so because the chances of profit are always in his favor. But when a man playeth the games, the situation is reversed, for the chances of profit are always against him and always in favor of the gamekeeper. The game is so arranged that it will always favor the keeper. It is his business at which he plans to make a liberal profit for himself from the coins bet by the players. Few players realize how certain are the gamekeeper's profits and how uncertain are their own chances to win. For example, let us consider wagers placed upon the cube. Each time it is cast, we bet which side will be uppermost. If it be the red side, the game master pays to us 4 times our bet. But if any other of the 5 sides come uppermost, we lose our bet. Thus, the figures show that for each cast, we have 5 chances to lose, but because the red pays 4 for 1, we have 4 chances to win. In a night's play, the game master can expect to keep for his profit 1/5 of all the coins wagered. Can a man expect to win more than occasionally against odds so arranged that he should lose 1/5 of all his bets? Yet some men do win large sums at times, volunteered one of the listeners. Quite so, they do, Arcad continued. Realizing this, the question comes to me whether money secured in such ways brings permanent value to those who are thus lucky. Among my acquaintances are many of the successful men of Babylon, yet among them I am unable to name a single one who started his success from such a source. You who are gathered here tonight know many more of our substantial citizens. To me, it would be of much interest to learn how many of our successful citizens can credit the gaming tables with their start to success. Suppose each of you tell of those you know. What say you? After a prolonged silence, a wag ventured, "Wouldst thy inquiry include the gamekeepers?" "If you think of no one else," Arcad responded. "If not one of you can think of anyone else, then how about yourselves? Are there any consistent winners with us who hesitate to advise such a source for their incomes?" His challenge was answered by a series of groans from the rear, taken up and spread amid much laughter. "It would seem we are not seeking good luck in such places as the goddess frequents," he continued. "Therefore, let us explore other fields. We have not found it in picking up lost wallets, neither have we found it haunting the gaming tables. As to the races, I must confess to have lost far more coins there than I have ever won. Now, suppose we consider our trades and businesses. Natural, if we conclude a profitable transaction, to consider it not good luck, but a just reward for our efforts. I am inclined to think we may be overlooking the gifts of the goddess. Perhaps she really does assist us when we do not appreciate her generosity. Who can suggest further discussion?" Thereupon an elderly merchant arose, smoothing his genteel white robe. "With thy permission, most honorable Arcad and my friends, I offer a suggestion. If, as you have said, we take credit to our own industry and ability for our business success, why not consider the successes we almost enjoyed but which escaped us, happenings which would have been most profitable? They would have been rare examples of good luck if they had actually happened. Because they were not brought to fulfillment, we cannot consider them as our just rewards. Surely many men here have such experiences to relate." "Here is a wise approach," Arcad approved. "Who among you have had good luck within your grasp only to see it escape?" Many hands were raised, among them that of the merchant. Arcad motioned to him to speak. "As you suggested this approach, we should like to hear first from you." "I will gladly relate a tale," he resumed, "that doth illustrate how closely unto a man good luck may approach, and how blindly he may permit it to escape, much to his loss and later regret. Many years ago, when I was a young man, just married and well started to earning, my father did come one day and urge most strongly that I enter upon an investment. The son of one of his good friends had taken notice of a barren tract of land not far beyond the outer walls of our city. It lay high above the canal where no water could reach it. The son of my father's friend devised a plan to purchase this land, build 3 large water wheels that could be operated by oxen, and thereby raise the life-giving waters to the fertile soil. This accomplished, he planned to divide it into small tracts and sell to the residents of the city for herb patches. The son of my father's friend did not possess sufficient gold to complete such an undertaking. Like myself, he was a young man earning a fair sum. His father, like mine, was a man of large family and small means. He therefore decided to interest a group of men to enter the enterprise with him. The group was to comprise 12, each of whom must be a money earner and agree to pay 1/10 of his earnings into the enterprise until the land was made ready for sale. All would then share justly in the profits in proportion to their investment. Thou, my son, bespoke my father unto me, art now in thy young manhood. It is my deep desire that thou begin the building of a valuable estate for thyself, that thou mayest become respected among men. I desire to see thou profit from a knowledge of the thoughtless mistakes of thy father. This do I most ardently desire, my father, I replied. Then this do I advise. Do what I should have done at thy age. From thy earnings, keep out 1/10 to put into favorable investments. With this 1/10 of thy earnings, and what it will also earn, thou canst, before thou art my age, accumulate for thyself a valuable estate. Thy words are words of wisdom, my father. Greatly do I desire riches. Yet there are many uses to which my earnings are called. Therefore do I hesitate to do as thou dost advise. I am young. There is plenty of time. So I thought at thy age, yet behold, many years have passed, and I have not yet made the beginning. We live in a different age, my father. I shall avoid thy mistakes. Opportunity stands before thee, my son. It is offering a chance that may lead to wealth. I beg of thee, do not delay. Go upon the morrow to the son of my friend, and bargain with him to pay 10% of thy earnings into this investment. Go promptly upon the morrow. Opportunity waits for no man. Today it is here, soon it is gone, therefore delay not. In spite of the advice of my father, I did hesitate. There were beautiful new robes just brought by the tradesmen from the east, robes of such richness and beauty my good wife and I felt we must each possess one. Should I agree to pay 1/10 of my earnings into the enterprise, we must deprive ourselves of these and other pleasures we dearly desired. I delayed making a decision until it was too late, much to my subsequent regret. The enterprise did prove to be more profitable than any man had prophesied. This is my tale, showing how I did permit good luck to escape. In this tale, we see how good luck waits to come to that man who accepts opportunity, commented a swarthy man of the desert. To the building of an estate, there must always be the beginning. That start may be a few pieces of gold or silver which a man diverts from his earnings to his first investment. I myself am the owner of many herds. The start of my herds I did begin when I was a mere boy, and did purchase with 1 piece of silver a young calf. This, being the beginning of my wealth, was of great importance to me. To take his first start to building an estate is as good luck as can come to any man. With all men, that first step, which changes them from men who earn from their own labor to men who draw dividends from the earnings of their gold, is important. Some fortunately take it when young and thereby outstrip in financial success those who do take it later, or those unfortunate men, like the father of this merchant, who never take it. Had our friend the merchant taken this step in his early manhood when this opportunity came to him, this day he would be blessed with much more of this world's goods. Should the good luck of our friend the cloth weaver cause him to take such a step at this time, it will indeed be but the beginning of much greater good fortune. Thank you. I like to speak also. A stranger from another country arose. I am a Syrian. Not so well do I speak your tongue. I wish to call this friend, the merchant, a name. Maybe you think it not polite, this name. Yet I wish to call him that. But alas, I not know your word for it. If I do call it in Syrian, you will not understand. Therefore, please, some good gentleman, tell me that right name you call man who puts off doing those things that mighty good for him. Procrastinator, called a voice. That's him, shouted the Syrian, waving his hands excitedly. He accepts not opportunity when she comes. He waits. He says, I have much business right now. By and by I talk to you. Opportunity she will not wait for such slow fellow. She thinks if a man desires to be lucky, he will step quick. Any man who not step quick when opportunity comes. He, big procrastinator like our friend, this merchant. The merchant arose and bowed good-naturedly in response to the laughter. My admiration to thee, stranger within our gates, who hesitates not to speak the truth. And now let us hear another tale of opportunity. Who has for us another experience? Demanded Arcad. I have, responded a red-robed man of middle age. I am a buyer of animals, mostly camels and horses. Sometimes I do also buy the sheep and goats. The tale I am about to relate will tell truthfully how opportunity came one night when I did least expect it. Perhaps for this reason I did let it escape. Of this you shall be the judge. Returning to the city one evening after a disheartening 10 days' journey in search of camels, I was much angered to find the gates of the city closed and locked. While my slaves spread our tent for the night, which we looked to spend with little food and no water, I was approached by an elderly farmer who, like ourselves, found himself locked outside. Honored sir, he addressed me, from thy appearance I do judge thee to be a buyer. If this be so, much would I like to sell to thee the most excellent flock of sheep just driven up. Alas, my good wife lies very sick with the fever. I must return with all haste. Buy thou my sheep, that I and my slaves may mount our camels and travel back without delay. So dark it was that I could not see his flock, but from the bleating I did know it must be large. Having wasted 10 days searching for camels I could not find, I was glad to bargain with him. In his anxiety, he did set a most reasonable price. I accepted, well knowing my slaves could drive the flock through the city gates in the morning and sell at a substantial profit. The bargain concluded, I called my slaves to bring torches that we might count the flock, which the farmer declared to contain 900. I shall not burden you, my friends, with a description of our difficulty in attempting to count so many thirsty, restless, milling sheep. It proved to be an impossible task. Therefore, I bluntly informed the farmer I would count them at daylight and pay him then. Please, most honorable sir, he pleaded, Pay me but 2/3 of the price tonight, that I may be on my way. I will leave my most intelligent and educated slave to assist to make the count in the morning. And to him thou canst pay the balance. But I was stubborn and refused to make payment that night. Next morning, before I awoke, the city gates opened and 4 buyers rushed out in search of flocks. They were most eager and willing to pay high prices because the city was threatened with siege and food was not plentiful. Nearly 3 times the price at which he had offered the flock to me did the old farmer receive for it. Rare good luck allowed to escape. Here is a tale most unusual, commented Arcad. What wisdom doth it suggest? The wisdom of making a payment immediately when we are convinced our bargain is wise, suggested a venerable saddle-maker. If the bargain be good, then dost thou need protection against thy own weaknesses as much as against any other man. We mortals are changeable. Alas, I must say, more apt to change our minds when right than wrong. Wrong, we are stubborn indeed. Right, we are prone to vacillate and let opportunity escape. My first judgment is my best, yet always have I found it difficult to compel myself to proceed with a good bargain when made. Therefore, as a protection against my own weaknesses, I do make a prompt deposit thereon. This doth save me from later regrets for the good luck that should have been mine. Thank you. Again I like to speak. Syrian was upon his feet once more. These tales much alike. Each time opportunity fly away for same reason. Each time she come to procrastinator, bringing good plan. Each time they hesitate, not say, right now, best time, I do it quick. How can men succeed that way? Wise are thy words, my friend, responded the buyer. Good luck fled from procrastination in both these tales. Yet this is not unusual. The spirit of procrastination is within all men. We desire riches, yet how often, when opportunity doth appear before us, that spirit of procrastination from within doth urge various delays in our acceptance. In listening to it, we do become our own worst enemies. In my younger days, I did not know it by this long word our friend from Syria doth enjoy. I did think at first it was my own poor judgment that did cause me loss at many profitable trades. Later I did credit it to my stubborn disposition. At last I did recognize it for what it was, a habit of needless delaying where action was required, action prompt and decisive. How I did hate it when its true character stood revealed. With the bitterness of a wild ass hitched to a chariot, I did break loose from this enemy to my success. Thank you. I like ask question from Mr. Merchant, the Syrian was speaking. You wear fine robes, not like those of poor man. You speak like successful man. Tell us, do you listen now when procrastination whispers in your ear? Like our friend the buyer, I also had to recognize and conquer procrastination, responded the merchant. To me, it proved to be an enemy, ever watching and waiting to thwart my accomplishments. The tale I did relate is but one of many similar instances I could tell to show how it drove away my opportunities. 'Tis not difficult to conquer once understood. No man willingly permits the thief to rob his bins of grain, nor does any man willingly permit an enemy to drive away his customers and rob him of his profits. When once I did recognize that such acts as these my enemy was committing, with determination I conquered him. So must every man master his own spirit of procrastination before he can expect to share in the rich treasures of Babylon. What sayest, Arkad? Because thou art the richest man in Babylon, many do proclaim thee to be the luckiest. Dost agree with me that no man can arrive at a full measure of success until he hath completely crushed the spirit of procrastination within him? It is even as thou sayest, Arkad admitted. During my long life, I have watched generation following generation, marching forward along those avenues of trade, science, and learning that lead to success in life. Opportunities came to all these men. Some grasped theirs and moved steadily to the gratification of their deepest desires. But the majority hesitated, faltered, and fell behind. Arkad turned to the cloth weaver. Thou didst suggest that we debate good luck. Let us hear what thou now thinkest upon the subject. I do see good luck in a different light. I had thought of it as something most desirable that might happen to a man without effort upon his part. Now I do realize such happenings are not the sort of thing one may attract to himself. From our discussion have I learned that to attract good luck to oneself, to take advantage of opportunities. Therefore, in the future, I shall endeavor to make the best of such opportunities as do come to me. Thou hast well grasped the truths brought forth in our discussion, Arkad replied. Good luck, we do find, often follows opportunity, but seldom comes otherwise. Our merchant friend would have found great good luck had he accepted the opportunity the good goddess did present to him. Our friend the buyer likewise would have enjoyed good luck had he completed the purchase of the flock and sold at such a handsome profit. We did pursue this discussion to find a means by which good luck could be enticed to us. I feel that we have found the way. Both the tales did illustrate how good luck follows opportunity. Herein lies a truth that many similar tales of good luck, won or lost, could not change. The truth is this: good luck can be enticed by accepting opportunity. Those eager to grasp opportunities for their betterment do attract the interest of the good goddess. She is ever anxious to aid those who please her. Men of action please her best. Action will lead thee forward to the successes thou dost desire. Men of action are favored by the goddess of good luck. Chapter 5. 5 Laws of Gold. A bag heavy with gold, or a clay tablet carved with words of wisdom. If thou hadst thy choice, which wouldst thou choose? By the flickering light from the fire of desert shrubs, the sun-tanned faces of the listeners gleamed with interest. The gold, the gold, chorused the 27. Old Calibab smiled knowingly. Hark, he resumed, raising his hand. Hear the wild dogs out there in the night? They howl and wail because they are lean with hunger. Yet feed them, and what do they? Fight and strut. Then fight and strut some more, giving no thought to the morrow that will surely come. Just so it is with the sons of men. Give them a choice of gold and wisdom. What do? Ignore the wisdom and waste the gold. On the morrow they wail because they have no more gold. Gold is reserved for those who know its laws and abide by them. Calabab drew his white robe close about his lean legs, for a cool night wind was blowing. Because thou hast served me faithfully upon our long journey, because thou cared well for my camels, because thou toiled uncomplainingly across the hot sands of the desert, because thou fought bravely the robbers that sought to despoil my merchandise, I will tell thee this night the tale of the 5 laws of gold, such a tale as thou never hast heard before. Hark ye with deep attention to the words I speak, for if you grasp their meaning and heed them, in the days that come, thou shalt have much gold. He paused impressively. Above, in a canopy of blue, the stars shone brightly in the crystal clear skies of Babylonia. Behind the group loomed their faded tents tightly staked against possible desert storms. Beside the tents were neatly stacked bales of merchandise covered with skins. Nearby, the camel herd sprawled in the sand, some chewing their cuds contentedly, others snoring in hoarse discord. Thou hast told us many good tales, Calab, spoke up the chief packer. We look to thy wisdom to guide us upon the morrow when our service with thee shall be at an end. I have but told thee of my adventures in strange and distant lands, but this night I shall tell thee of the wisdom of Arkad, the wise rich man. Much have we heard of him, acknowledged the chief packer, for he was the richest man that ever lived in Babylon. The richest man he was, and that because he was wise in the ways of gold, even as no man had ever been before him. This night shall I tell you of his great wisdom as it was told to me by Nomasir, his son, many years ago in Nineveh, when I was but a lad. My master and myself had tarried long into the night in the palace of Nomasir. I had helped my master bring great bundles of fine rugs, each one to be tried by Nomasir until his choice of colors was satisfied. At last he was well pleased and commanded us to sit with him and to drink a rare vintage, odorous to the nostrils and most warming to my stomach, which was unaccustomed to such a drink. Then did he tell us this tale of the great wisdom of Arkad, his father, even as I shall tell it to you. In Babylon, it is the custom, as you know, that the sons of wealthy fathers live with their parents in expectation of inheriting the estate. Arkad did not approve of this custom. Therefore, when Nomasir reached the man's estate, he sent for the young man and addressed him. My son, it is my desire that thou succeed to my estate. Thou must, however, first prove that thou art capable of wisely handling it. Therefore, I wish that thou go out into the world and show thy ability both to acquire gold and to make thyself respected among men. Well, I will give thee 2 things of which I myself was denied when I started as a poor youth to build up a fortune. First, I give thee this bag of gold. If thou use it wisely, it will be the basis of thy future success. Second, I give thee this clay tablet upon which is carved the 5 laws of gold. If thou dost but interpret them in thy own acts, they shall bring thee competence and security. 10 years from this day, come thou back to the house of thy father and give account of thyself. If thou prove worthy, I will then make thee the heir to my estate. Otherwise, I will give it to the priests that they may barter for my soul the kind consideration of the gods. So Nomasir went forth to make his own way, Taking his bag of gold, the clay tablet carefully wrapped in silken cloth, his slave, and the horses upon which they rode. The 10 years passed, and Nomasir, as he had agreed, returned to the house of his father, who provided a great feast in his honor, to which he invited many friends and relatives. After the feast was over, the father and mother mounted their throne-like seats at one side of the great hall, and Nomasir stood before them to give an account of himself as he had promised his father. It was evening. The room was hazy with smoke from the wicks of the oil lamps that but dimly lighted it. Slaves in white woven jackets and tunics fanned the humid air rhythmically with long-stemmed palm leaves. A stately dignity colored the scene. The wife of Nomasir and his 2 young sons, with friends and other members of the family, sat upon rugs behind him, eager listeners. "My father," he began deferentially, "I bow before thy wisdom. 10 years ago, when I stood at the gates of manhood, thou bade me go forth and become a man among men instead of remaining a vassal to thy fortune. Thou gave me liberally of thy gold. Thou gave me liberally of thy wisdom. Of the gold, alas, I must admit of a disastrous handling. It fled indeed from my inexperienced hands, even as a wild hare flees at the first opportunity from the youth who captures it." The father smiled indulgently. "Continue, my son. Thy tale interests me in all its details." "I decided to go to Nineveh, as it was a growing city, believing that I might find there opportunities. I joined a caravan, and among its members made numerous friends. 2 well-spoken men who had a most beautiful white horse, as fleet as the wind, were among these. As we journeyed, they told me in confidence that in Nineveh was a wealthy man who owned a horse so swift that it had never been beaten. Its owner believed that no horse living could run with greater speed. Therefore, would he wager any sum, however large, that his horse could outspeed any horse in all Babylonia. Compared to their horse, so my friend said, it was but a lumbering ass that could be beaten with ease. They offered, as a great favor, to permit me to join them in a wager. I was quite carried away with the plan. Our horse was badly beaten, and I lost much of my gold." The father laughed. "Later, I discovered that this was a deceitful plan of these men, and they constantly journeyed with caravans seeking victims. You see, the man in Nineveh was their partner and shared with them the bets he won. This shrewd deceit taught me my first lesson in looking out for myself. I was soon to learn another, equally bitter. In the caravan was another young man with whom I became quite friendly. He was the son of wealthy parents and, like myself, journeying to Nineveh to find a suitable location. Not long after our arrival, he told me that a merchant had died, and his shop with its rich merchandise and patronage could be secured at a paltry price. Saying that we would be equal partners, but first he must return to Babylon to secure his gold, he prevailed upon me to purchase the stock with my gold, agreeing that his would be used later to carry on our venture. He long delayed the trip to Babylon, proving in the meantime to be an unwise buyer and a foolish spender. I finally put him out, but not before the business had deteriorated to where we had only unsaleable goods and no gold to buy other goods. I sacrificed what was left to an Israelite for a pitiful sum. Soon there followed, I tell you, my father, bitter days. I sought employment and found it not, for I was without trade or training that would enable me to earn. I sold my horses. I sold my slave. I sold my extra robes that I might have food and a place to sleep. But each day grim want crouched closer. But in those bitter days, I remembered thy confidence in me, my father. Thou hadst sent me forth to become a man, and this I was determined to accomplish. The mother buried her face and wept softly. At this time, I bethought me of the table thou had given to me, upon which thou had carved the 5 laws of gold. Thereupon I read most carefully thy words of wisdom, and realized that had I but sought wisdom first, my gold would not have been lost to me. I learned by heart each law, and determined that when once more the goddess of good fortune smiled upon me, I would be guided by the wisdom of age, and not by the inexperience of youth. For the benefit of you who are seated here this night, I will read the wisdom of my father as engraved upon the clay tablet which he gave to me 10 years ago. The 5 laws of gold. 1. Gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. 2. Gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. 3. Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. 4. Gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. 5. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. These are the 5 laws of gold as written by my father. I do proclaim them as of greater value than gold itself, as I will show by the continuance of my tale. He again faced his father. I have told thee of the depth of poverty and despair to which my inexperience brought me. However, there is no chain of disasters that will not come to an end. Mine came when I secured employment managing a crew of slaves working upon the new outer wall of the city. Profiting from my knowledge of the first law of gold, I saved a copper from my first earnings, adding to it at every opportunity until I had a piece of silver. It was a slow procedure, for one must live. I did spend grudgingly, I admit, because I was determined to earn back before the 10 years were over as much gold as you, my father, had given to me. One day, the slave master with whom I had become quite friendly said to me, "Thou art a thrifty youth who spends not wantonly what he earns. Hast thou gold put by that is not earning?" "Yes," I replied. "It is my greatest desire to accumulate gold, to replace that which my father gave to me and which I have lost. 'Tis a worthy ambition, I will grant. And do you know that the gold which you have saved can work for you and earn much more gold?" "Alas, my experience has been bitter, for my father's gold has fled from me, and I am in much fear lest my own do the same." "If thou hast confidence in me, I will give thee a lesson in the profitable handling of gold," he replied. "Within a year, the outer wall will be complete and ready for the great gates of bronze that will be built at each entrance to protect the city from the king's enemies. In all Nineveh, there is not enough metal to make these gates, and the king has not thought to provide it. Here is my plan. A group of us will pool our gold and send a caravan to the mines of copper and tin, which are distant, and bring to Nineveh the metal for the gates. When the king says, 'Make the great gates,' we alone can supply the metal, and a rich price he will pay. If the king will not buy from us, we will yet have the metal which can be sold for a fair price." In his offer, I recognized an opportunity to abide by the third law and invest my savings under the guidance of wise men. Nor was I disappointed. Our pool was a success, and my small store of gold was greatly increased by the transaction. In due time, I was accepted as a member of this same group in other ventures. They were men wise in the profitable handling of gold. They talked over each plan presented with great care before entering upon it. They would take no chance on losing their principal or tying it up in unprofitable investments from which their gold could not be recovered. Such foolish things as the horse race and the partnership into which I had entered with my inexperience would have had scant consideration with them. They would have immediately pointed out their weaknesses. Through my association with these men, I learned to safely invest gold to bring profitable returns. As the years went on, my treasure increased more and more rapidly. I not only made back as much as I lost, but much more. Through my misfortunes, my trials, and my success, I have tested time and again the wisdom of the 5 laws of gold, my father, and have proven them true in every test. Who is without knowledge of the 5 laws, gold comes not often, and goeth away quickly. But to him who abide by the 5 laws, gold comes and works as his dutiful slave. Nomasir ceased speaking and motioned to a slave in the back of the room. The slave brought forward one at a time 3 heavy leather bags. One of these Nomasir took and placed upon the floor before his father, addressing him again. "Thou didst give to me a bag of gold, Babylon gold. Behold, in its place, I do return to thee a bag of Nineveh gold of equal weight, an equal exchange, as all will agree. Thou didst give to me a clay tablet inscribed with wisdom. Behold, in its stead, I do return 2 bags of gold." So saying, he took from the slave the other 2 bags, and likewise placed them upon the floor before his father. "This I do to prove to thee, my father, of how much greater value I consider thy wisdom than thy gold. Yet who can measure in bags of gold the value of wisdom? Without wisdom, gold is quickly lost by those who have it. But with wisdom, gold can be secured by those who have it not, as these 3 bags of gold do prove. It does indeed give to me the deepest satisfaction, my father, to stand before thee and say that, because of thy wisdom, I have been able to become rich and respected before men." The father placed his hand fondly upon the head of Nomasir. "Thou hast learned well thy lessons, and I am indeed fortunate to have a son to whom I may entrust my wealth." Calabab ceased his tale and looked critically at his listeners. "What means this to thee, this tale of Nomasir?" he continued. "Who among thee can go to thy father or to the father of thy wife and give an account of wise handling of his earnings? What would these venerable men think were you to say, 'I have traveled much and learned much and labored much and earned much, yet alas, of gold I have little. Some I spent wisely, some I spent foolishly, and much I lost in unwise ways.'
All right, all right. That is The Richest Man in Babylon, written by George S. Clason. We're going to continue that book. We walking through audio books that make sense, that take us past the conscious community narrative of ignorant ass niggas on YouTube. Sorry, I got to talk that way. But it's rough out here trying to teach these dudes. These dudes, they don't like to learn. I don't know what it is. They don't like to learn. They definitely don't like to learn. Don't like to learn. You got to force feed them this information. So now, here we are. Part 11 of the war chess. Pitt just kicking ass all in the chess games. I lost a few. Sometimes I do some bullshit. Obviously, it ain't no damn 24 haters. I ain't even got 24 people chimed into the goddamn room. Haters. I'm glad y'all put a lot of energy in the hate, because you're not stopping a goddamn thing. But for some of y'all who just kind of came around, and y'all, you might have caught on to my channel, in the recent time, you might wonder, why they all hating? This is The Richest Man in Babylon. How you gonna hate that? They're not hating the audio. They hating themselves, because they are a part of the hate that hate produces. They are the foolish ones of YouTube, the foolish ones. And boy, they done sent 100 haters at me, then hit that link, and 100 haters then got that guillotine drill, and they can't stand it. They was hoping that I didn't have the truth, and that they can send some foolish mortal to confront me. They can shut me down. The way the pit boss shut their ass down. The way the pit boss shut their heroes down. It is only because I don't speak that these idiots can eat. Because if I was to choose to go in on them, all they would do is go batshit crazy, because they have no defense. So I'm leaving the fake ass black power cartel in the conscious community. I bet you they can't keep up. You're welcome for the audio, Rajan. I know you're kind of new to the channel, and there's a lot of videos where I drop some ridiculous information. Here's one I'm presenting to Sarnetta. He's just afraid. And I'm like, why are you afraid, Sarnetta? What I'm going to do? Because he calls me, right? We kind of on cool terms for the moment. But in the conscious community, that shit don't mean a goddamn thing. These niggas will turn on your ass like the goddamn Americans on the Britons. They don't want to pay taxes to the king. It's understandable. So I told Sarnetta, let me do Alice Bailey on your channel. I don't want a goddamn Bible debate. I ain't got time to argue with them niggas about the Bible. None of them know the Bible. They all waiting on Jesus. Now, Asagya, I showed you Luke 17:20-21. If the Bible be true, there were men in the time of Jesus who asked him about the kingdom. This is over 2,000 years ago. And Jesus replied, the kingdom does not come with observation. You won't see it in that way. You won't be able to count the days waiting on it. Someone won't be able to say, look here or look there. There goes the kingdom. And I asked him why. And he said, and he replied, because the kingdom is among you. Or in other translations, because the kingdom is within you. So with the destruction of Jerusalem, the mortal structure, temple, this is where God dwelled for those that were under the law. They had to go to the city of God in Jerusalem and go down to one of the high priests, one of the Levite priests, and speak to him. And he would enter inside the inner sanctum of the temple where he could speak to God, a man of God. And then the priest would then teach the flock, the church. But in the arrival of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Messiah, the Christos, the anointed one, he spoke, I bring the kingdom. To enter that kingdom, you had to follow the teaching and do it in your life. And with the power of that, they were able to tumble down all other empires thereafter, pushing that bullshit. Everybody had a god representing something: the sun, the moon, the star, the river, the land, the crocodile, the eagle, some shit. They created a god for it. None of that shit is ruling shit today. Those that hate this information perform words of magic labeled black magic. Black magic isn't relating to skin color or race of people, but rather words build or destroy. So when you say words that destroy, you're using black magic. When you say words that build, you're using white magic. These are not in references to skin color. These are references to words being spoken that have application to its believer of the word. So who was using these kinds of words? Well, it was those who were not operating in the Christ consciousness. They would become subjected to the truth. So I say to Sarnetta, bro, let me on your platform. I want to go in on Alice Bailey. You know, he don't really know who she is to even know what the hell I'm talking about. And he can't run to Brother Reggie because he pushing Alice Bailey. He can't run to Shaka because he pushing Alice Bailey. He can't go to Polite because he pushing Alice Bailey. He can't go to none of those guys because they're using black magic. And she was a priestess of black magic. Her story is important because her legacy goes back to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a real serious group of black magicians empowered in America at high levels of government, influential in governmental policies. She was taught by a lady named Madame Blavatsky, another high priestess, who was taught by another high priest named Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley was initiated into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Aleister Crowley would write a book. This book would be called the Book of the Law. This would transform the foundation of black magic in America. It would initiate Wicca, initiate the modern tarot cards or tarot cards, initiate Thelema, initiate various organizations of black magic magicians. So as Alice Bailey started to get her improvement letter from the group, she rose in rank. She started to preach several things. An Indian form of yoga, the biblical New Testament. On the flip side, she considered her Christ Lucifer. She made a publishing company called Lucifer's Publishing. Later, they changed the name to Lucis Publishing, trying to code the meaning somewhat, as Lucifer is seen to be evil of some sort and not wanting to give off that impression to the lame. They changed the name. But her interesting story is she was an internationalist. You know, there's a couple of black so-called power leaders in the history who are internationalists, promoting humanitarianism, one of those literary art skills many of our black leaders follow. They go to school to become craftsmen and create humanism as a forefront. The feminist groups, the womalicians and stuff like that of the modern day. They don't promote STEM-based educations. They all promote mystical, esoteric knowledge and literary art. The worthless shit that you can't get your economics up with. They're drawn to that because they're influenced by the black magic, and the black magic resides heavily in the arts, those literary arts. So Alice Crowley, knowing this, she chose to change culture through music and arts, because music and arts is a powerful medium of cultural influence. Then she got an international job at the United Nations. She joined up with an organization that they would nickname UNESCO. All the story is deeper than you can imagine. She was there much earlier than Mr. Dr. Ben Yosef Ben Yakadin, much earlier than him, putting down her black magic, laying the groundwork for Satanism in the United Nations. No one looking at the United Nations could say that that's a group for the betterment of humanity. United Nations is the strong arm of the law for the wicked Catholic Church and the American government. Boy, stop playing. I do this shit. Just because I ain't on the mic every day don't make a nigga new to this shit. I know these haters hate me. Fuck you. Can't say it no simpler, plainer than that. The shit I came to do is beyond you, way past your bitch ass. This ain't no shit you gonna get on they popular platforms. Them niggas is pushing this shit. Hate Alice Bailey more than you hate me. I'm only regurgitating what I came to see. But you niggas blind by the fact, lured by a boy in nature, don't know shit to understand shit, and don't want to hear it because you hate the truth and you love the lie. The Bible taught me that you would be that way when I arrived, that they would despise me for telling the truth and love the lie. And my numbers show it. You niggas hate this shit. That's why I play this shit. I don't play this shit thinking you gonna love it. I play this shit because you gonna hate it. And your hate is the motivation that make me do it. So back to Alice Bailey and UNESCO. It was early in 1940. Dr. Ben Yakutian arrives in America. He's working with this company, UNESCO. UNESCO has one international purpose: to influence change in culture. He gets his game, his comedic reconstruction, understanding this universal principle that the United Nations is pushing. There's a magical magician in the organization. He had to have known Alice Bailey because she was a big shot. Y'all don't know about this shit. Conscious community ain't gonna talk about this type shit and reveal the ills that they do. This ain't what they do. Not at all. See, I've cloaked this goddamn information behind the war chest video because they not gonna listen that goddamn long. They gonna be gone. They gonna come, drop their little hate, click the little button once or twice, and then they gone. They don't want to hear no shit that'll change your life. You don't want to hear it. So when you see that war chest shit, Pit Boss is playing psychological mental games on his haters. Those of you down with me, you ain't gonna do nothing but benefit, because this is just real information. But I'm playing psychological games on the hater because you gotta stretch him out before you break him. So Alice Bailey and Dr. Ben running the same goddamn game within the confines of UNESCO. Let's take a look. Let's take a small look. Let's get down to some business. A lot of the newcomers, they haven't went back to watch Pit Boss. They think I'll be on some other shit. I don't know what they thinking, but they damn sure don't know Pit Boss gets it in and go way harder than that bullshit, right? That they be kicking. And so I just want to introduce y'all to UNESCO really quickly. This is just some, I always use a simple site when I'm on here. I don't really always like to show my files, so I go to the basic Wikipedia. If there's something that I find on Wikipedia that's just look like that bullshit, I overlook it. Sometimes Wikipedia ain't perfect. So here's who they are and their purpose. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Now, when they use this word scientific, this is the word you find among the Black Power Satanist organizations in the conscious community. They want to have scientific. They want to be scientific, not as in scientific in the STEM, science, technology. They want to be scientific. This is a code word from their Freemasonry, free thinking white people ideology. These are words that I see leap off the page based on my understanding through research and where I've come. Now, what is the purpose of the organization? It is a specialized agency of the United Nations and is based in Paris. Its declared purpose is to contribute to peace and security by promoting international collaborations through educational, scientific, and cultural reforms in order to increase universal respect for justice, the rule of law, and human rights, along with the fundamental freedom proclaimed in the United Nations Charter. It is a successor of the League of Nations, the International Committee on Intellectual Cooperation. Now, I just want you to be aware of it because Pit Boss about to go in, give us about a week. I'm prepping your boy Black Ink on a perspective that I got to get his mind, because you know he not all the way tuned in to the full paradigm I drop, but the brother has excellent research skills. So once I shoot him in the direction, he makes the connections. So we working on it. But we're going to get way deeper than what I'm doing here now. Bring this shit to the side because I really want the Comedics to hear it. Because they don't believe that they got a channel called Black Magic 363, but then don't want to acknowledge what Black Magic is. Why did he name that channel there? And the people that appear on it are Black Magic magicians. That's who, and then the channel is large as a mother with more Black magicians. They search for anybody who will push this shit. They will push you to the top. When you're doing righteous work, you can't get the mic. You can't get in the front of the line. They're not going to give you no money. Hell no. We won't go back to the kingdom of God. We're trying to live up out the side of the yard where a nigga just love going hard. You know what I'm talking about. They don't want to go to righteousness. So we're going to deal with Alice Bailey, and we're going to dig into these 10 points that she created. But she didn't just create Alice Bailey 10-point plan. She wrote a library of books. And when we get into them books, I'm going to show you the conscious community and the shit they spitting. But she named her publishing company Lucifer's Publishing. She had no problem acknowledging what she was. And for that, I respect that shit. Don't come lying about who you are, acting like we family. Another code word of the Satanists. What up, family? Nigga, what family is you talking about, nigga? What family you talking about? Because you don't seem like you love Black people across the board. You trying to destroy a book of information. You niggas hate a book. Y'all don't hate Pit Boss. Y'all hate Pit Boss paradigm and the fact that his paradigm puts him in charge and makes him a goddamn boss. Y'all hate Booker T. Washington's Christian STEM program based on that biblical information of character. And he built Black power with the Bible. Y'all hate that shit. Pit Boss gonna take you deeper than the conscious can go. Deeper than a nature boy in the jungle, deeper than Polite in Beverly Hills, deeper than Sonetta in Harlem, across the street from the Apollo, deeper than Sarah Sutanseti in Detroit, deeper than these lightweight niggas. They don't got no cap to rap. They will mention every name in the country community but mine. That bullshit Pan-African shit Q Butter kicking is whack than a motherfucker. His economic financial program is ridiculous. And Khonsu sitting there damn near fucked off with his bullshit wannabe intellectual ass. These niggas think I don't watch they punk ass talking on these channels. I got 1 million eyes watching. Nigga, my back chat phone be cracking. Nigga calling me with tens of thousands of dollars talking about, man, I just watched this video of you. I had to reach out. I was like, okay, what's up? Pitt only do it one way. Get to the money. So if you ain't talking about building, you damn sure ain't talking to me. I ain't got time to be playing with you. Oh man, we building some shit I can't even talk about. All I could do is get ready to delete my motherfucking channel when they drop this check. Not really delete it, but just go away for a moment. And then bang back harder than a motherfucker. Make them wonder, how did he do that? Well, nigga, I did it with the power of God that I read in a book that I didn't really realize that was in me. But the book making me reflect about me made me go inside and meditate. Turn on a candle and wait for that energy in me to become me and then express that shit openly. Yeah, this shit is hard hitting. I run most of them away on purpose. Even ones act like they my fans. I say some shit, check a nigga just to see if you real or not. Just to see. Y'all don't know that they love the lie and they hate the truth. Everything they love is a lie. I'm pulling up Wikipedia. I didn't write this shit. I just connect those dots. So I'm going to take y'all and I'm going to show y'all because I already laid it down. Dr. Ben is their master teacher with this comedic reconstruction of the black man's mind. So they say. And this shit he kicking wasn't no shit of his own. Or else it wouldn't be in the mouth of Alice Bailey. And in the mouth of Madame Blavatsky. And in the mouth of Ayn Rand. And in the mouth of Mr. Aleister Crowley, the professed Satan himself. It wouldn't be in their mouth if this was some shit he kicked. I was watching a Sonetta video, some nigga named Hey Rue. This nigga is off his rocker. This nigga been sitting on 125th Street selling copper twisted up around his finger for too long. This shit done seeped in his system and fucked his brain up. This nigga over here think he's talking comedic language. Talking about he want to show to Zodiac how they could build back when Kemet and the Israelites used to be cool. This shit is cartoon comic book shit. You can't write this shit. People in Hollywood gonna one day look at this shit and be like, here's our next movie. It's called The Dumbest Niggas We Ever Made. under white supremacy slave system. This got to be the dumbest thing. We done got these niggas to reconstruct the dumbest shit ever made. Boy, they hate this shit. If I could find some real shit with the Kemetics, I would spit that shit to y'all. They don't got one mathematical book that the Kemets left them. Not one. They don't got one. They don't got one engineering book that the Kemetics left them. Not one. The reason why we connect this shit to Kemet is because we examined Kemet. And through proper study, we understood that they knew this shit, but they ain't left no books. These niggas ain't learning from no books on how to get the stem popping in the Kemetic community. Oh, hell no. That's why they go to the Book of the Dead, some literary arts talking about some historical bullshit that they hope they could find information outside of what the white people was running. They act like the white people in Greek, in the ancient times of Greece, was operating the Bible and Christianity. Nigga, they wasn't practicing the Bible. They wasn't following the Hebrew Israelites. Nigga, they was following Kemet. Forever. Building up ancient Greece. Dressing like them, talking like them, walking like them. Walk like an Egyptian. Then Rome comes along. And they wasn't rocking with no Bible. They wasn't following no Hebrew. They was trying to kill these niggas, put these niggas in slavery. They damn sure wasn't practicing their religion. And these Islamic people, they wasn't practicing no Hebrew shit. They was Zotarians, following Ishtar, which is also some Kemetic shit. Stop it. Stop fucking lying on the motherfucking mic, you bitch ass niggas. That's just what it is. And then we look at the Hebrew Israelites and we go back to Abraham when he had lost his rocker. And his ass was following that shit too. But being where he came from, he found his way. And he got back to the source. You know that source that Nature Boy be talking about? That source. He found that source. They all looking for the source. And they want it to be Kemet so goddamn bad. But Kemet ain't the source. Kemet is a bastardized nation that went astray and got shut the fuck down. All temples shut down. Not one went into the AD period for long. It was over for the whole religion for thousands of years. But it was surviving by people out in nature, hiding in the jungle, trying to resurrect the dead ancestors, and couldn't build a civilization based on the information. This shit got crazy. But when them white folks realize that them people, whoever they are, following that Bible, is busting up their shit, well, they had to change their mind and switch their game up. Now, but because they wasn't really all the way right with their shit, they took the information and didn't even use it properly. Start doing bad things with good information. And they done it so well for so long that by the time these Kemetic dum-dums in the conscious YouTube syndicate video channels, these dumb niggas all stem out of the dumb niggas in Harlem. That's just where the dumb niggas come from. That's just the last 100 years of some integrated ass dumb type niggas. I don't know why it's so heavy up there, but the goddamn black magic up there is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. W.E.B. Du Bois, W40, W.E.B. Du 40. That nigga is from up there with that bullshit. The integrationist paradigm, stem out that shit. It's called the Roaring Twenties in Harlem. When all the gay authors, Langston Hughes' gay ass, wrote all that good information, played all that jazz. All them jazz musicians was effing each other in the ass. Boy, stop. And the white boy put their ass on top and made them look like they was heroes. They all started pushing for that integration shit. This is why the conscious community hate my shit, because I use Booker T to bust they shit up. Then I tell them, nigga, Garvey was following Booker T, not nigga Dr. Ben and them niggas. Not the Roaring 20 Langston Hughes and them niggas. Them niggas was NAACP. But they hate for me to tell it to them because Pit Boss is too vicious with the viper and they can't stand the bite. Well, this is the war chest. It's subtle. The information I'm putting on this series is subtle because it ain't me talking, but it's just as deadly. And so they run away. I'm playing the white people they don't want to talk about. So I accuse them that you operate in Satanism in a black face. And they don't want to let me put that Alice Bailey on that platform so that they got to confront it after the numbers get to 30, 40,000 views. They don't want to confront that shit. Check it out. Me and Black Ink is in the bank with it. Somebody calling me. Who this be? Hater University. Hold on, folks. Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm back. So because of that, they don't want to put this information out there because see, if one of my videos go viral, they got to do something about it. They got to say something. As long as they couple hundred views, they not tripping. They know ain't enough people heard that shit. Don't worry about it. Because the truth, they hate and they love that lie. But see, Wikipedia says that Dr. Ben worked for UNESCO. And Wikipedia says that Alice Bailey worked for UNESCO. And the amalgamation of the information at the time, we talking 1935 up to about 1950, a 15-year span, opportunity for these two black Satanists and white Satanists to come together with the plan underneath the banner of the United Nations humanitarianism. You know it. And get the message. So by the time Dr. Ben comes back to America around 1950 and really start kicking philosophy under the Kemetic Reconstruction, it started off slow. Then he had to add on a few more of his integrationist paradigms. That's where you get Dr. Clarke. But see, I got Harold Cruse for Dr. Clarke. Harold Cruse was a rock star in the 60s. And Dr. Clarke was still trying to get his game up. He couldn't fuck with Harold Cruse, trust me. Dr. Clarke don't have no books he written that go harder than the shit Harold Cruse wrote. If you haven't went on my videos, go to Digital Pitballs page, look up Harold Cruse, or just type it in YouTube. I'm like the only person with a Harold Cruse video. I go in with this shit, my shit complete. There's so many videos now that it's confusing, but I got playlists. Go look at my playlist. I break all that shit in segments for you. Trust me, y'all don't really support me to do it. I just do it for you because you got to help those who won't help themselves. Support those who won't support themselves. It's just the way we got to do it. We're in slavery. We're in mental slavery. Black folks have always been integrated with white folks since they got off the boat. There was only one time that they did not integrate with white folks, and that was during the Booker T era. Up until the burning of Black Wall Street. That's it. Other than that time, Black folks have been integrated with white people outside of that realm. In that small little moment, we built the greatest shit the planet ever seen. They didn't do this shit over there in the Civil Rights March movement. Y'all didn't do none of this shit. Oh, hell no. NAACP been around 100 years. They ain't done a goddamn thing. Black Lives Movement been around a couple years. Ain't did a goddamn thing. Conscious Community been around 30 years. Ain't did a goddamn thing. But talk that talk. So here's the deal. Me and Black Ink onto a strong paradigm here. I need to build something. Whether y'all help me or not, I'm going to pay for it. And I'm going to build it. But if you like to assist, we're raising $3,000 just to lay down the foundation to this shit. It's all digital. If you would like to help, you got to get in my PayPal. That shit's 99lightyears@gmail.com. It's in the description. I have no problem asking y'all to help. I don't give a shit if you do or if you don't, because it's hard. If you want to help, you better get in it with some real money. I'm going to need some hundreds. I don't got a lot of people over here. Trust me, I got 1 and 2 people with thousands of dollars calling me, ready to get to it. Ready to drop thousands. Cool. I don't tell them, hey, just give it to me. No, I say, okay, since you come in, I'm talking about people ready to drop, ready to give it, hand it to me. But before you do, if you're going to give me thousands, we got to really talk so I can really hammer out the understanding. This ain't no shit we trying to come back and present to the conscious community. Hell no, they can't go. Hell no, they can't go. Fuck them. This is only for those that understand what I've been talking about. We pushing out by our goddamn self. Leave these niggas on the boat. We out. But if you want to be involved and you just want to help support it, put something in the PayPal. Nobody can see you putting it there. It's 99lightyears@gmail.com. This ain't no wait all got. Now, if you ain't got no money, I ain't talking to you. Sit back, relax. I'll give you something. But if you sitting over there stacked up, nigga, get in it. We got a lot of shit to build. But if you don't give me nothing, watch me do it. Anyway, watch me do it. I just sat here for several months and gave y'all Becky. I put some serious time. What about, I gave y'all the, man, I don't even need to say it. I did it. It's on the platform. It's laid down, etched in video stone. But some days I get a little, whew, y'all wear my battery down. But guess what? I got a big battery. So I keep going. So anyway, it's 99lightyears@gmail.com. Be good or be good at it.